All right, we're started recording. Welcome everybody to the second lesson here. Like a second unit too. This is geography class. Thanks for everybody for coming. If you wouldn't mind jumping on the Nearpod, you can find the link in the chat so you can follow along as we can get going. And I'm going to start screen sharing real quick. All right, so today what we're going to do, we're going to talk about natural disasters, which is one of the themes of geography, human-environment interaction. So this is the one we're kind of starting out with here. Just remember, this session is being recorded for learning purposes and will be stored for a while. Classroom expectations, make sure you're following with the Nearpod lesson. You're using the chat tools respectfully and appropriately, and that you'll respond to questions and instructions the first time. Okay. All right. Before I go into what the objective is today, I just wanted to mention here, as I'm flipping into the class real quick, that the recordings are going to be right here on the class announcement. So just so you're aware of that, they can also be found in the content portion, which I'll show in a second. But as we're going through our calendar, remember live classes are every Monday at 11:30, and your assignments or exit tickets for the lesson will be due on the Friday. Next week is spring break. Need to get a shout out for that. Excuse me. And then we got a couple more things here. Last day for seniors will be the 18th. Last day for everybody else, 25th. Make sure you get everything in by that time. So that's where we are in regards to the class and where to go through there. We're going to be working in here, lesson 2 today, natural disasters. If you need to find an asynchronous Nearpod link, you can do right here. And we're going to have the assignment right here, which we'll go over that at the very end here of what you need to do. Okay, so what you need to do is, given a list of natural disasters in the OLS, students will choose one natural disaster and research a current events to determine the last natural disaster occurred and how it affected the environment in that area with 80% accuracy across one trial. So we're going to be jumping into different natural disasters, how they happen, all that kind of fun stuff here. So first question is basically, what is a natural disaster? So that's what I want you to kind of put on here. What is a natural disaster? What is your knowledge that you already know about of a natural disaster? Okay, somebody said a bad storm that affects a lot of land and people. Okay, so that is one of the big things, is it affects the environment and also the people. Okay, good. So Kirby getting sucked vortex in the new Kirby game, also a tornado. Okay, I remember, isn't that Kirby game, isn't that like a circle kind of emoji thing? I can't remember. All right. If it's not letting you type, Vincent, why don't you try to refresh it and see if it'll work there. Severe weather or natural occurrence that affects humans in a harmful way. Oh, it's a pink sphere. Okay. Pink light blob dude. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was like a pink blob kind of dude. I couldn't When you said Kirby, I was like, I didn't understand what that was at first. Okay. Severe weather, natural occurrences that affect humans in harmful ways. Disasters called by nature, such as a hurricane causing enormous damage. Okay, good. A disaster that occurs naturally here on Earth. Tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes. Okay, this is Kirby, just so you're aware. I wasn't aware of what it was so far. Okay. A natural disaster that's occurrence that has caused damage to the environment. Example, an earthquake or tornado. Okay, a disaster caused by Earth that will affect places and people. A natural occurring disaster that affects a lot of people. Tornado, volcano, earthquake. And then something that happens on its own and can affect the landscape and its inhabitants. Okay, very good. I like your definitions, how they're more technical and not just one word. That's fantastic. That's great. Thank you. Okay. So one thing we got to be thinking of is the world is always changing, okay? Natural disasters are changing, which are great, that cause damage, that shape the land, the people that live there, and other things that live in that area. Great changes happen deep inside the earth and on its surface. The change of the outer parts of the earth happens because of different kinds of weather. So there's a lot of different things at play here, right? So we got, like, for example, like tectonic plates, right, that are shifting and moving and pushing and pulling away from each other. You also have soft areas in the Earth's crust, right, where you have magma that's coming up, that's pushing up, hot spots that are going on. You have weather on top of the Earth's surface that are changing things, and that's where we get natural disasters from. So some natural disasters are like volcanic eruptions. Some people mentioned, I believe, earthquakes already, cyclones or hurricanes, avalanches, floods, drought, forest fire, and bushfire. Okay, we're going to watch a little video now that will basically go over some of this. So I'm going to push play.
Disasters are part of the way the planet works. In the ideal world, we would all live in places that aren't affected by natural hazards. We wouldn't live near coastlines. We wouldn't live along the San Andreas Fault in California. We wouldn't live underneath the volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest. But we live where our homes are. I mean, those are the places that are important to us. And then there are many people that don't have choices. The museum is presenting this exhibit to describe these events to people so they have a better understanding of earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, hurricanes, and tornadoes.
Following along here, which of the 4 natural disasters just mentioned is the most relevant while living in Utah? You know, some places other things are maybe more relevant. So what do you guys think? Would it be volcanoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, or tornadoes? I won't let you watch without watching the video. Okay. That's probably why I'm not getting my answers. All right, well, let's go move on then. Here we go.
But more than that, to begin thinking about the risks associated with it. As climate warms, we expect there to be more severe storms, more severe droughts, more wildfires, and to some extent, over the last decade, we've seen just that. There's no way we're going to avoid the natural hazards on a dynamic Earth. But there are certainly ways that we can learn to live with it, to mitigate the risks to society.
have to do kind of as a people. We're always going to have natural disasters. They're always going to happen. We're probably going to live through some of those natural disasters. And I think it's been about 2+ years ago when we had the earthquake that kind of shook things a little bit. We have earthquakes every year, but this one that was like in Magna. Does anybody remember that or feeling that? Supposed to be yes. You slept through it. No. Okay. Oh, you live right there. Okay. Yep. You remember. So I remember I live up in West Haven and I felt the shaking. I was actually walking out of a building and I felt the shaking going on. Somebody said, I thought my cat jumped off my bed. Then you realize it's a real earthquake. Yeah, it was it's pretty interesting. I've never been through something like an earthquake like that. So pretty interesting how it can just happen at a moment's notice. There's not really any warning, but hopefully science is getting to a point where we can kind of predict some of these things a little bit better and help people and save people from keep them safe. So here we go. Volcanoes. Here's just a list of random ones. So what I want you to do now, I want you to start thinking because you're going to need to research a little bit think of a natural disaster you want to research and then find out where it happened last. And that's going to be your assignment. Okay. So think of what natural disaster you want to do. You don't have to do one that I do. You can do anything. Okay. So for example, volcanoes and a volcanic eruption is spurting out of gases and hot lava from an opening in the Earth's crust. Pressures from deep inside the Earth forces ash, gas, and molten rocks to the surface. Okay. Another one you could look at is maybe an earthquake. We already talked about this extensively. The violent shaking of the ground, things that come apart, giant shock waves. Okay. Cyclones, hurricanes, tornadoes, or typhoons. Okay. And so this may be something if you don't understand the difference between maybe cyclones and hurricanes or tornadoes or typhoons, you can look and kind of see where they're. It's all about where they're located at. Okay. But basically they're all the same. They're just a fierce storm with winds that spin around in a giant circle. During cyclones, trees are uprooted, buildings can be destroyed, cars can be, taken over, all that kind of stuff. Okay, here's something you'll find in Utah too, right? Is avalanches, okay? So an avalanche is a movement of snow, ice, and rock down a mountainside. Avalanches happen very sudden and can move as fast as a racing car up to 124 miles an hour. Okay, avalanches can be caused by melting snow quickly, snow freezing and melting again, someone skiing, etc. Okay, so that's something that I thought I'd throw in there just to know that it's not always, for example, something like way crazy, but it could be an isolated area like an avalanche in the backcountry. Or you could have a flood, right? Flood's caused by overflow of water, which covers the land that is usually dry. So the earth can't soak it in fast enough or whatever. Floods are caused by heavy rains or snow melting and the rivers burst their banks and overflow. Or I guess it said from tsunamis, that kind of stuff. Here's another one you may not think of just right off the bat is a drought, okay? A drought is a lack of rain for a long time. In 1968, a drought began in Africa. Children born during this year would spend 5 years before they saw rainfall. So that would be definitely a drought. And of course, we know Utah is going through somewhat of a drought as well, right? Not having the waters for necessities. Here's another one you may not think of. This happens quite a bit around the West Coast and like these big wooded areas, particularly California, Oregon, that kind of stuff. Forest fires or brush fires. When they get going, it could be caused by people, but it can be caused by lightning strikes or other things that happen. And then they just can't keep it under control. And it just eliminates, thousands and thousands of people's homes. Very devastating. That would be considered a natural disaster too. So that is not just an exclusive list. There's a lot more here. But what I want to do is we're going to watch this video real quick. You can watch it on your screen if you want, if it's easier so it's not lagging. But I'll play it on here as well. But this is a video that recaps a lot of the natural disasters that happened a couple of years ago. This was in 2020. And it only went up for about 6 months to show you all the things that have been happening worldwide. And this usually happens every year. Something this is, as the scientists mentioned in the previous video, as the earth continues to warm and everything like that, these natural disasters are going to be more in abundance. So let's watch this.
is trying to check the intensity or the speed of the wind, and I'm applying full strength to try and open this. It's a bit hard. Oh God.
You want to attempt to fly a kite in that wind. Wow, I think it'd take the kite and you away. But yeah, somebody said like what they said is 50 degrees Celsius. That's 122 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're right. That is hot. Anyways, you can kind of see all of these things. They happen on a continual basis every year. So kind of think back in your memory real quick. What is the most recent natural disaster do you remember hearing about? And really, a lot of it's due to, what media kind of puts on there, because I know a lot of things are based upon the war there. But there, so tornado somewhere in Kansas, right? Hurricanes at Florida. Okay, good. Tornado. A tornado that touched down in San Diego. I didn't hear about that. Interesting. Okay. Flood. You forgot the country. Okay. Probably a tornado somewhere. Tornado in Kansas. Okay. It is that time of year. Different times of year tend to different kinds of natural disasters that happen. So very good. So yeah, a lot of think of that tornado in Kansas. Very good. Okay. But there's a lot you can kind of look at. Extreme snowfall in New York. Very good. Okay, and all of those can affect us. So let's talk about our assignment here. So if we go right here, we go to assignment 2. This would be under content, assignment 2. Click right here. We're going to go start quiz. And as soon as it pulls up here, there we go. Okay, so you're going to think of a natural disaster that you're going to research. Okay, so you put in one of the things you want to do, like a tsunami or tornado or whatever, or something that's maybe you haven't really thought of, right? A natural disaster you choose. In which country did this natural disaster most recently occur? So you're going to have to get onto the internet and figure out where these things happened, right? Or which one in particular you're looking at, okay? And then what you need to do is read some up about it somewhere on the internet, and at least about 65 or 75 words describing what the natural environment did to the country that it was in, maybe how it displaced people, how those things kind of happened, and then you submit it, okay? So that is the assignment for this week and how it works right there. So please let me know if you do have any questions, and I could stay after if you guys have any additional questions, but that is what the assignment is this week. Somebody said tornadoes come in a lot during the summertime. Yep. It's when cold air and warm air pressures, right, get together, and then they start to form that. This one right here. Can you go back a slide? This is the one you want me to go to? Okay. Yeah, I would say sinkholes are natural disasters. Yeah, definitely. Right? They affect humans, that kind of stuff. Okay, well, I'll stop the recording. I'll be around to answer any questions, but thanks for coming today. Appreciate it.